Hi everyone, I'm Ali and today I'm presenting to you about Bitcoin. Okay, let me see a show of hands. How many of you guys already know about Bitcoin? Okay. How many of you have thought about investing in Bitcoin? It can be like any certain amount of money. No? Okay, good. Alright, Bitcoin started in 2009 when a paper was written by Satoshi Nakamoto. And it was not backed by any government or any entity or any person. It was like a completely new concept. It turns out that that person isn't, like it was an anonymous person. He just created a name and just made the invention, and no one knew who it was until this guy came forward, and we still don't know for a fact that it's him. His name is Craig Wright. And he's Australian and he claims to be the Bitcoin founder. But it hasn't been proven yet. Okay, what's the vision of Bitcoin? They're intended to be like a digital currency. Their main use is to like eliminate fees and make it easier to like send transactions from person to person. And it's technically it's safer than walking around with cash or just like just a credit card. Like it's safer to protect you against theft. They're like gold or diamond. They have no intrinsic value. They're based on the supply and demand. It's like almost like stocks. It is like stocks. It is stocks. And the more people that want to buy them, the higher the price goes. The less people that want to buy them, the lower the price goes. So it changes from day to day. There are currently no rules and regulations, which I'll get more into it later throughout this presentation. And speculators who think Bitcoin is successful buy as much as they can because they know that the value is going to go up. And since there's a limited quantity of 21 million Bitcoins, we're currently at 60 million. Like people have already bought about 60 million, which are currently in circulation. So people just invest in it, either long term or short term, like stocks, like buying and selling daily. And people have like seen significant increase in profits just recently. Okay, so buyers, usually large buyers, go to online exchanges and sign up for an account, and they just purchase their Bitcoin through those exchanges. These exchanges usually have like a small fee for developing the software and doing all the work. And you only pay this fee once if you buy it, and more than once if you buy and sell daily, if you like trade stocks. And there are about 21 Bitcoin exchanges in the US alone. There's hundreds of exchanges worldwide. Well, to buy the most well-known exchange here in the US is called Coinbase. You just set up an account, you set up an online wallet, you deposit money from your bank account or like through a credit card, and the funds appear immediately on your Coinbase account. And from there you can purchase Bitcoin or other forms of cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies is a term in general. Like there's Bitcoins, there's over 1,000 cryptocurrencies, but Bitcoin is currently the highest. And you can just buy and sell whenever you like for the small fee I talked about. There are also Bitcoin ATMs, and they're increasing as it's becoming more popular. You can literally go to a Bitcoin ATM, deposit cash, and get Bitcoins in return. It's going to set up an account for you and give you your Bitcoin, which is mainly used for smaller transactions. If you use larger transactions, you go to bigger exchanges online like Coinbase. First ATM was in Texas in a gun store. And this is kind of like incorrect. I forgot to remove this one. Right now, as it's becoming more popular, you can sell Bitcoin at an ATM and get cash in return. Okay, so I did my research today right before the presentation, And just today alone, there's been over 370,000 Bitcoin transactions, meaning people buying and selling Bitcoin, which was about a total of 21,000 Bitcoins. Most transactions are usually less than 1 Bitcoin, since the value of Bitcoin is really high right now, and I'm going to go more into value later throughout the slides. So people sometimes just buy like half a Bitcoin, a quarter of a Bitcoin, 0.005 of a Bitcoin, like, because the value is really high. So you can buy as little as you want. Like you can buy something worth $1 with just Bitcoin, but that's going to be like a really small percentage of 1 Bitcoin. All right, so the Bitcoin value. When it started in 2009, it was obviously zero because no one bought anything during that time, and it was stable, like it was close to zero for a really long time. I first learned about Bitcoin around here, between 2013 and 14, when the small spike happened, and I was just like, nah, it's probably gonna die out. And I was young, like it was some time ago, and I just didn't think about it. I didn't take it that seriously, and then I just forgot about it. And this last summer, before I went back to Egypt, I started doing more research around this period, like when it started to spike about here. It was worth $1,500 at the time, and I was really considering investing in Bitcoin. Now, a few months later, Bitcoin is about to hit $10,000. Like right now is a really special day, because today Bitcoin is going to hit $10,000. It's about $9,950 right now, and it's going up and down, but like today it's going to hit $10,000. All right, so as you can see, there's a lot of ups and downs. Like I said, it's mainly based on speculations. People buy to profit, not for the long-term investment. But if someone buys for the long-term investment, they could definitely make a profit, since you can see that the overall curve is going up. But people who trade daily, like myself, lose a lot of money because they sometimes don't make the right decisions while they're buying. They buy at peaks, they sell at lows, instead of doing it the other way around. And this, a few weeks ago, there was like a huge, everyone started selling Bitcoin, everyone was freaking out because the value hit about $7,700, and then it fell down to $5,700. So everyone thought it was the end of Bitcoin, because there was this new like mini currency created by the same company, or the same people, called Bitcoin Cash. So Bitcoin Cash was increasing, and Bitcoin, the real the true currency, the true Bitcoin, was going down. So everyone thought Bitcoin Cash would replace Bitcoin, as it would be more convenient, since it's Bitcoin Cash, it would be easier to do daily transactions. But it went down to $5,700, and then just a few days later, it hit over $8,000. And now it's about to hit $10,000. So as you can see, the overall curve is just going up. So why is all the money flowing into Bitcoin? Well, trading in Bitcoin can make you either very rich or very poor, depending on how you invest in Bitcoin. And about 90%, like I said, are speculators, meaning they just buy for the hype, they buy for short-term gains. And if people, I mean, you can basically buy almost a lot of stuff online now through websites, through Bitcoin, like PayPal. Like when you check out, say a value of something is like $100, you can just go buy, then it's going to give you the value in Bitcoin. It's going to be like 0.023 or whatever it is. Then it just takes from your Bitcoin wallet, and the funds just go into go to the whoever is selling the product. But I would like, I don't recommend this, because like a few years back, some guy was he was looking to buy a pizza for 10,000 Bitcoins. It was, at the time, that was worth about $40, because one Bitcoin was less than $1. And now, he actually bought the pizza. Like I looked at the thread, it was online. And if you look at it, now the value of that pizza is over $100 million. So that pizza cost this guy $100 million. Okay, so Bitcoin issues. Is it legal? Like, is it, I mean, it is legal, but how legal is it? Well, the thing is, they're untraceable. Like when a transaction is made, people can see the amount of the transaction, but they can't see it's by who or going towards who. So the government doesn't know about the transactions. The IRS has no idea, it's not taxed. Of course, all governments want to stop because it's like a back road for like investing, or not investing, but like keeping your money somewhere without having to pay taxes, or for money laundering, or as you know, it's been used for drug trade and like underground activities. And it's getting harder and harder to stop Bitcoin as it's growing more and more. It's getting like really big. But recently, China has completely banned Bitcoin, which scared everyone because everyone started thinking that what if all the governments started banning Bitcoin? So Bitcoin took a small hit at that time. It was like a few months ago. It was in September. But since the hit wasn't as people thought, like it wasn't as bad as everyone thought it would be, a few days after it just spiked really high because people knew that it was more secure than they thought. Well, like I said, China banned Bitcoin, and actually it banned the trade of all cryptocurrencies since it's affecting the government and people aren't paying their taxes, and sometimes people, like there was a really famous hack a few months ago, and the hackers instead of asking for money, they asked for Bitcoins. They hacked people's computers and they asked for Bitcoins in return. So this is one of the biggest cons of Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies in general. And Korea is currently trying to set regulations, and Thailand is still in debate. The largest exchange in Japan lost about $450 million because of people getting hacked, like the exchange actually getting hacked, and which is the biggest threat, because if one of those exchanges get hacked and they take your Bitcoins or they take your value of cryptocurrencies, there's nothing you can do about it. Like you basically lose all the money you invested. Like no one can get it back from you since it's not regulated or it's not like backed up by a government. But wallets in general have been proven to be safe, but not guarantees. Like right now, I have a small amount invested, and I don't feel like my money's gonna get hacked. I mean, it is possible, but it's more likely to someone stop me on the street and like just take my wallet or something. Like I feel like it's safer to have my money somewhere online in a virtual exchange. Why do I think it will succeed? Well, the digital currency concept makes a lot of sense. The fact that you don't have to pay taxes, you don't have to pay fees, makes it different than anything that's ever been around. But this means two things. This means it will either, like, it's going to get banned in the future, which is going to make its value go down to zero, or if it becomes regulated and used more worldwide, the value could go up to $1 million, just like everyone says. Like if you own one Bitcoin, that would be $1 million. I mean, it also eliminates middleman costs, like I said, fees and all that stuff. It's just easy for anyone to set up an account and to just purchase Bitcoins. And it could eliminate billions of dollars in credit card fraud and identity theft. And Bitcoin might not be the currency that's going to be used in the future. It might fail. Something else might come up. There's, like I said, over 1,000 currencies, some of which are valued in over $100. One of Bitcoin Cash is currently at $2,000. So there's no guarantee that if the cryptocurrency world in general succeeds, Bitcoin is going to succeed or be like the leading cryptocurrency. All right, and one more thing. Back in 2011, just a fact, like back in 2011, some guy invested about $500. Not some guy, he was in high school, he was a teenager. And they've been like writing articles, and he's really popular in the Bitcoin world right now. He has over $5 million. He invested in Bitcoin when the value of one Bitcoin was less than $1. It was about 0.30, not 20 cents. It was like something very small, 0.0020. And he bought $500 worth of Bitcoin, and he currently has, well, about from $5 to $8 million. Like it's not really comparable. Yeah.
Go back to one of your first slides that showed the number of Bitcoins out there. I think it was the first slide.
It's 21 million in total, and 16 million are currently in circulation.
There it is. So there are 21 million Bitcoins in circulation.
Mhm.
Who issued those? Who created those?
That anonymous person that first wrote the paper about Bitcoin, like who introduced it, and that entity or whatever it is who's working underground, or maybe it's that Australian guy who came forward.
Now, is that fixed? Can he create more?
No, it's that's what makes Bitcoin so valuable. Is that it's a limited quantity.
So there'll never be more than 21 million
There will
Bitcoins?
never be more than 21 million. But other cryptocurrencies have different quantities. Like there's another one called Ripple. It's every cryptocurrency has a different use. Ripple is gonna be used mainly for storage by banks. It's like a different concept. More like Bitcoin is more towards purchasing daily things through Bitcoin. Ripple is more like buying storage.
If there are 16 million in circulation now, according to your slide, who owns the other 5 million?
They haven't been mined yet. It's like the more people who buy Bitcoin, well, mining is it's different. It's a more complicated concept. It's the more people that buy it, the system automatically generates what's left based on the supply and demand. So when more people want to buy, the closer you get to the limit, which makes the price go up even more.
I thought I was confused when you started. Now I'm convinced I'm confused.
What are you confused about?
I'm just kind of curious what other people think are Bitcoin transactions. Can you go out and buy a car with a Bitcoin?
Not everyone accepts Bitcoin, but a lot of people do accept Bitcoin. Some car companies might accept Bitcoin as a payment, as a form of payment.
But there's no backing to it.
Backing.
In other words, there's not a gold bar in Fort Knox sitting there as backup.
No, there isn't.
There's no gold bar in Fort Knox, $300 bills.
Yeah, no. There used to be at one point. No government backs it. It could disappear tomorrow.
Exactly. That's what makes it special.
Special.
It's so high risk, so very high return. Like I said,
Yeah.
it's currently 10,000. Last summer, it was 1,500. It could go up to 1 million. 1 million, like that. Really, like Bill Gates once said, it's either gonna go up to $1 million or down to $0.
That's risky.
It is risky. That's what makes it special. Like if you're willing to invest, then you're willing to.